Hello, all. This is Football Primetime. I'm your host, Bill Dean, and of course, here with my co-host, AJ Dean. We're here for another fun-filled episode of Football Primetime, brought to you by Sam Wu, courtesy of Primetime Radio. I'm behind the controls today. You can find us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Apple and Google Podcasts, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Please go ahead and leave us any reviews. That'd be awesome. If you like what you hear, send it to a friend. But we're back. Week 4 is in the books. Coming up in week 5, bunch of interesting stuff happening in the football world. There was a bunch of injuries, AJ, which we'll get into in a little bit. But you got guys like Russell Wilson coming back and Alvin Kamara. I guess and obviously Jalen Hurts. With his breakout, he's still, even in a bad weather game, he manages to have a really good showing. Geno Smith, did the Jets screw up and not give him enough leash? And then, a really sad time in everybody's, football week is hearing the retirements and Blake Bortles, the boat.
Yeah.
He hangs it up quietly. For Jaguars fans, and I know everyone's going to be upset. Jaguars fans don't really like him all that much, but I thought he was fun to at least watch. He was interesting for, a few seasons there. And, he needed more help around him. And I guess, they're going to give him shit and criticize him. But the boat, good job on a career. Well-deserved.
Well, he was a game manager, right? That's what he was. I would say slightly above average, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah,
slightly above. I'll give that. Yeah.
Definitely a game manager. Used his legs well. That's all I got to say about that.
yeah. There's not much to say about Blake Bortles, other than he was Blake Bortles. Let's see here. You have Rodgers saying that he would have loved to spend more time in jolly old England. He's over there, obviously. Him and I saw this stat. Do you know this is the first time that the NFL is sending 2 teams with an over 500 record to London for a game?
Really?
Yeah, it's the first time.
What is it?
It's very funny.
Giants and
Packers. Right? Yeah, both. So, I think both are 2-2, right?
Yeah, Giants
both are 2.
Oh
no, Giants are 3-1.
No, Giants are 3-1. Yeah, Giants are 3-1
and Packers are 3-1. Shoot. So the first time that we're sending 2. Yeah, it's gonna be a good game. First time sending 2 over 500 teams to Wembley. I guess over there in Green Bay. In London.
Who loses that home game? That sucks for them.
That's actually a very good very good question.
I would think that the Packers would want that as a home game. Like would want.
Well, they would want
play
to not
to play.
Have,
Yeah.
Schedule.
Yeah.
It says. Let's see what it says.
Home game.
Is it Packers home game?
Packers are technically home.
Wow. Huh. Okay. Interesting.
I'm surprised by that.
Yeah, you would figure that they'd want. Yeah, that they'd want 8 games at home.
Yeah, I can still see the Giants too, just with their being the historic franchise too. Saying that they want that extra home game, but I don't know who decides all that.
I guess Matt LaFleur was trying to do more prep work in Green Bay. How it was going to be difficult leading up to the game, so Rodgers kind of was just saying, that he would have enjoyed more time. So,
yeah, I feel like the NFL should do it either where it's like because the buys start this week, right? So like,
whose buys this week?
That
sucks. A 17-game season, you have a bye in week 5.
But if you're coming off from
that's so dumb.
If you're coming off a game from London though, like
I guess Saints,
so. Like that's a terrible. Yeah. That's some bad jet lag. Coming either going there or coming back. Same thing with.
Then maybe if you're going to do that, right? Then maybe the NFL should work at if you're going to do a London game, maybe put that on the Thursday, and they can't, right? Because that'll be too late. Because if they want, Yeah, because if you even wanted a decent game, 6 o'clock, you're looking at your West
Yeah,
Coast. That's 9 hours away. So even if you started it at 9 o'clock there, that's only 1 o'clock over here.
yeah,
12.
yeah.
I guess so. It has to be a Sunday. Yeah.
I say yeah, they'll never do it on a Thursday or Monday. Which I mean, that would be like the best thing to do, right? Is you give, make that a Monday night game, like in the U.S., right?
Well, you
And
would make it a
who gives a
Thursday
shit
night
about?
game. Yeah, you could make it like if they could do it right, you would do it a Thursday night game where you're in London, and then
Yeah.
you give those two teams then the Monday afterwards, so they have like a week and a half of like recuperating.
Well, then you're putting
But
what, 2 games on Monday night then, theoretically.
hmm yeah,
Yeah,
that's what you have to
or
do.
you just put them, or just make them go on the bye right after, kind of thing.
Yeah,
Whatever. But
I mean, but even so having buys in week 5 is not ideal. Like
yeah,
even move those games then to later in the season. I don't know. Maybe that's do like soccer football over there in the schedules. But
I wonder if they'll start having games in Mexico again. Right? We haven't had a
I
Mexico
think
City game in a
do we
while.
have 2 years ago? 2 years ago was the
Yeah, right.
last
'Cause
one.
wasn't that
Yeah,
Oakland and
was
wasn't it Oakland Denver, right, or something like that?
Denver, right? Yeah, because that's even higher than Mile High. Even the
Yeah, 'cause that
Broncos
was
players were kind of complaining.
wasn't that the game that the guy was like shining a laser pointer at in
Yes.
like Car's eye or something like
Yeah.
that, right?
Yeah. Good memory on that one. Um. Yeah. It's both those teams, right? They're obviously those two teams are in kind of different directions, even though they just had the game where or finally Vegas gets a win. But yeah, no, I mean it'd be fun to get someone over there again. We'll see.
Yeah.
It might could happen. All right, so we'll go over the slate for this past week and then kind of give some views on what's coming up next. But the Finns obviously getting criticism for how they've handled Tua, and rightfully so. You guys, and of course the NFL did the nice thing where they don't name the person that was fired, but they fired somebody that
Yeah.
was independent doctor that was supposed to give Tua the right prognosis, and that it's ridiculous sometimes. But yeah, Tua gets carted off. He has that nasty fall again. He has concussion this time. He looks like he's going to be out for. He's at least out this game. I don't know if he's going to be out
Yeah.
more after that, but it sucks because obviously Tua's having a pretty good season, and Teddy Bridgewater's a good quarterback. He's a game manager though. He's not going to
Yeah.
win. He's not going to win this division, and I know that they're the best team right now in this. The second best team in this division right now, but they're going to start to trail off a little bit if he's behind center for very long. So,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah, I mean,
but
it sucks. It sucks what happened, with him, and obviously, like everybody has been saying, you would have thought that, that they would have had, the air of caution, right, when the first injury happened, or
yeah,
lack of injury, whatever you want to call it, right, that happened last week, and I it's funny. I don't know if you saw some of the clips of like Daniel Jones last year, right, when he got, he was pulled out of
concussed.
a game. Yeah, and he was
Mm-hmm.
pulled out of the game, looking similar, right, to what Tua happened, and
Yeah, he was like a
you know,
deer that had gotten on ice.
yeah. Um, so yeah, I mean, it's sad. Obviously, what happened. It's unfortunate. You hope that he comes back soon.
Yep.
Um, I think Teddy. Yeah, Teddy's definitely a step down, obviously, from Tua, right? He's not the
Mm-hmm.
guy that you want in there, but I mean, I think he showed some promise, right, with kind of how he managed the game afterwards. In Tua's absence, and I'm not going to say that they're going to still contend with the Bills, right? I still think that was a tall order for them, even though they
Even
did
with
win that.
Tua.
Yeah, I know they
Yeah.
won that game, but I think that was more Buffalo blowing that than Miami winning it. But I still think that they're, depending on how long Tua's out, I still think that they could be a fringe, you know, I still think they can make the playoffs,
Yep.
and be a somewhat contender.
Fringe
Just
contender. Yeah.
yeah, it just depends on when Tua is back, and if he's the same Tua that he was the first 3, 4 games.
Yeah. Agreed. Um, I was looking at the stats. He had, what does he had? Teddy had about 200 yards, the one touchdown, and then the interception. Um, but yeah, I mean, you have these two guys to throw the ball to, and Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill, and he made sure to get Tyreek the ball. But he started to lose Jalen a little bit. He only had two catches for the 40 yards. But on the other side in that game, Joe Burrow came back, looked good again. Two
Yep.
touchdowns, almost 300 yards, only one sack, which is big. I know that line's kind of growing, so the more they can keep people off of him, the better. Even Tyler Boyd had that one throw for 23 yards on that end around, and then rushing, Mixon got involved with a touchdown. 24 carries to get 60 yards though, so efficiency is not there. But T. Higgins was a beast, and Jamar Chase had some pretty good catches. That 36-yard reception he had was very nice over the top. Um, are they? Do you think that this Cincinnati Bengals team, can they start to get going and feel that same mojo as the Super Bowl team last year?
I think they're in a similar position, right? I think last year they stayed healthy and they were consistent, and that's what made them, that Super Bowl contender, right? As out of all the teams, they were the healthiest at the end of the year and stuff like that. So I think if they can stay healthy, with the weapons that they have on offense, and I think with that defense, if it can make that next step again, like it did last year, and playing better than what they were showing on paper, um, I definitely think they can still be in that mix of contenders. I don't see, why they wouldn't be. Um, if they can continue to help Burrow, that offensive line, and keep him from getting sacked, as much times as he has in the past, I don't know, 20 games, right? Or, however many games he has started,
Mm-hmm.
that ridiculous sack number. Uh, I think that I think they could be contenders. I'm not going to say that they're the upper echelon, but they are, right there.
Yeah,
You know,
a couple steps behind the
and
Bills. Yeah. Uh, Dolphins we just talked about, but and once Tua comes back, they'll start to turn it around a little bit, or get back into the winning ways. I think. All right, so that's Sunday slate. Giants beating the Bears 20-12. Uh, Daniel Jones injures his ankle and comes out, and Tyrod Taylor comes in, and then he gets hurt again. I just you had multiple times where Daniel Jones was just out, on the field as basically a dummy quarterback because they were running wishbone and they were running,
yeah,
the old Ron Brown. Oh man, where the running back takes the football.
talking about
Crap, why am I blanking on the names of the
Wildcat.
Wildcat? Thank you. Um, let's put it this way. So Justin Fields at 174 yards passing, he by far smoked Daniel Jones, who had 71. Tyrod Taylor had 11, and he had the interception, which was that deep bomb that he just kind of threw up there before getting injured. Saquon Barkley is absolutely a
Insane.
beast.
Yeah.
146 yards on 31 carries. Um, receiving the ball 2 for 16. He was all over the field. And Khalil Herbert on the other side did well in Daniel Montgomery's absence. Justin Fields running the ball pretty well, but he had a 11 for 22. Like I said, 174. He was sacked 6 times. Giants defense, the defensive ends were all over
Yep.
him. But Daniel Jones did just enough to win. It's just you're going to see that the Giants, they know that they don't have the quarterback. They know that Daniel
Yep.
Jones is not their guy, so they're going to do anything in their power to just use the crap out of him. And if that means running him, and that's the best thing he's at, Daniel Jones can fly. And if that's the best thing that he can do to help this team, they're going to use him. And if he gets hurt, then so be it. That's what they just rather, I think, have him use the best of his abilities. And if that's what he can do best, then they'll try to win games that way. And, on the other side, the coach, I like this guy. He's ballsy. And
Yeah.
he'll do pretty much anything possible to get a win. And his clock management is spot on. his use of challenges, and this is all stuff a rookie coach would normally just flail at. But
Hmm.
Schoen obviously picked a pretty good coach, and he brought in his guy, and you know the Giants fans have to be pretty happy with the tandem they have in the front office and the coaching staff. There's some bright spots.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Giants fans, right? Your team's 3-1 right now, but there's still going to be
Yeah,
growing
false
pains,
three and
right?
one.
With
Yeah.
yes, the quarterback, like you said, and like we've said, is not there. They're going to bide their time. Hopefully, they can get somebody in this next, rookie draft, or maybe pick somebody up in free agency. Um, but you got to be happy with the way the team is playing right now under
Mm-hmm.
Dable, and I know there were some, I would say, questionable wins already, and you're playing, obviously the
Yeah.
Bears right now, right, are not the greatest of teams. I think Justin Fields has less yardage throwing than like Tyreek Hill does receiving, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like Hill has more receiving yards than he does throwing yards, which is ridiculous. I know, especially after four
Mm-hmm.
games. I mean, you got to be happy with Saquon. What do you do with Saquon after the end of the season, right? Because
I mean, you'd franchise him, and then see if you could trade him. That's really the best thing you could do. You have
you,
to. I think he's
so
gone.
would you?
I don't know that he's long term for the Giants.
Let's say, do you think they try to sign him long term and then use that? I mean, like
You'd have to be
what do
pretty
you do
confident
there?
that his injuries are a thing of the past to sign him long term.
Well,
I would think that the best what
I'll say I obviously the knee injury, right? You see
yeah
guys come back from those kind of injuries back even stronger. Look at AP, right? With the season that he had, right, breaking
mm-hmm.
the record, right, that following
Yeah
year. I think
after
that
tearing his
the ankle
ACL.
injury, after the ankle injury that he had last season, I think was obviously just a fluke kind of thing. I don't think that's
Yeah,
anything against him, more or less. But I mean, he's making a case, right? I mean, I guess if you're the Giants, right, you got to think
he
of where you want to use that franchise tag on offense, right? And
well, I
that might
mean,
be the
who
best
else
spot,
would they
but
use it on? I don't even know who else they'd use it on. It's
true.
you like listen, right? So he has, and I'm trying to remember all his rushing, but essentially he his rookie year was awesome. I think he was at like 5 yards per carry, and then that second year in 2019, he lost the 3 games due to injury. He was a little worse, but not quite as efficient as his rookie year.
Yeah.
He also had 91 receptions his rookie year. He was ridiculous, and then it just kind of dropped. His passing game usage dropped. 2020, he only has the 2 games. Not a very good year at all. 2021, he loses a couple more games, and his yardage was only 600 yards last year. He has almost as much. He has 463 yards this year, which is he's only 100 less, and he had 9 games less. So the guy is clearly running like his head's on fire, and he knows
Yeah.
he needs a contract. So
Yep.
he's gonna, they're gonna utilize him as much as possible. I really do think they have two kind of lame duck, quarterback, running back, and they'll franchise him if they need to. But if they could get a piece for him, and I think they'd trade him. I really do.
Yeah.
Um,
I say
Go
one
ahead,
one guy they definitely got to get rid of, right, is Kenny Galladay.
Kenny
One
Galladay.
target.
Yeah, he is not doing all that well. Nowhere near the field. Same thing, Kadarius Toney. You can't seem to find this guy. Even when he's on the field, I don't know, he's in la la land.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Giants are hurting, especially wide receiver. Sterling Shepard was out last week. The injury and just Richie James is their number one. I don't know, just doesn't
Yeah.
spell you know
Yep.
good things. All right, I got the Jets jersey on. They
Oh,
rallied
we're gonna do it
to get
early.
past Kenny Pickett. Yeah, we're gonna do it early. Rallied to get past Kenny Pickett and his 2 rushing touchdowns. He looked bad passing the ball. The ball never touched the ground with him. He was
So
10 for 13 with 3 interceptions.
I think
No
what
incompletions.
two of the interceptions, right, Pickett had, I thought were they like tip balls,
One
right,
tip
or
ball.
balls
Yeah,
that
I thought
were.
she both were tip ball. Yeah. No, they
I
weren't
thought I
really
read
all
some.
his fault.
Yeah, That's it. That's one I read. Right, one was like a throw up ball, right, to
Yeah,
try and get
yeah,
a
Hail
score, and then
Mary.
the other two
Yep,
were more either tip balls or something, right, where it wasn't
yep.
necessarily his fault. I
Yeah,
didn't
think
think
of
he looked
George
bad.
Pickens. Yeah.
I didn't think he
Yeah,
looked
no, he
bad in
wasn't
the
bad.
start.
Eh, You know, yeah, he didn't look bad. Trubisky actually
Awful.
wasn't terrible either. Well, no, I'll say he wasn't terrible. He was 7 for 13. He had the one pick, but he was finding all his underneath targets. But that was the problem. He wasn't expanding like the strike zone, right? You needed to get the deep ball in there, but you could just do. He was checked down Charlie the entire time. But Kenny
Yeah,
Pickett, like I said, 10 of 13, 3 picks, 120 yards passing, a couple interceptions, that just kind of, guys, I think Pickens was one and Deontay Johnson was another one, just kind of off their fingertips and into the defender's hands. Zach Wilson, comes in and, Braxton Berrios does that one touchdown on the Philly special to Zach Wilson, who says
yeah.
he had the best hands on the team. And then, he leads that final drive. I think it was 5 for 5, 60 something yards, the touchdown. The 1 yard rushing touchdown for Breece Hall, who had a pretty good bounce back game. Breece Hall is starting to turn the corner as a guy you can kind of trust. He seems to be getting more passing down usage.
Yeah.
Each game. I know Mike Carter had 11 targets. He had 6.
I,
Michael Carter had 3 targets, and Breece Hall had 6.
as I said, this is what we were expecting, right, for the backfield to kind of shape into,
Start to
right,
turn.
was
Mm-hmm.
Brees Hall being the lead guy, Carter being that complementary kind of back.
Yeah,
Um,
I do
I'm
feel
liking
bad for
how
Michael
the
Carter.
yeah, but I mean, I think he also going into his rookie year was
Yeah,
right. If I remember correctly, he wasn't supposed to be the guy still, right? He was always supposed to be that complementary back. And I think he's always had, in his career, right,
yeah.
back in college, and at
Mm-hmm.
UNC, he was also the complementary back. So I think he's okay with that role, especially if like if you're playing and you're doing well, like I think both backs are playing well. Um, obviously, those guys want the big contracts and want to be the guys, but
I was gonna say his old battery mate Javante Williams. We'll talk about that knee injury, LCL
yeah,
and MCL. That sucks, but yeah. But UNC's running backs, pretty good pairing there.
yeah,
Um, yeah, like I said, Barrios with the touchdown. Elijah Moore kind of came back a little bit, 3 catches, 53 yards. Corey Davis with the touchdown. Corey Davis has been, quietly very good receiver for the Jets this past year after last year not doing very much of anything. I think he's had 2 touchdowns. He had the 10 catch game versus Baltimore in week 1. The only bad one was that Bengals game, but that Jets just in general were awful.
yeah.
But yeah, Zach Wilson. I mean, he showed a little bit. He needs to pick it up a little more during the rest of the game. But I'll take a game-winning drive. That's fine with me. George Pickens looked pretty good for
Yeah,
the Steelers.
yeah, I would say it's funny. I texted my buddy Brett, who's a Steelers fan, right? And I was like, both our teams suck. It was
Yep.
kind of hard to watch. It was a hard to watch game, right? But I was happy at
Yeah.
least the Jets could bounce back and have that game winning drive and play at the end. The way they played. I think it was more of a defensive battle, right? Based off all the
Yeah.
turnovers that were there. I'd like to see a little bit more of Elijah Moore like get into it. I know he was second um, on the team that game receiving and stuff like that. But I still want to see him get going a little bit more. I like
He's
seeing Garrett
fifth in
Wilson.
targets.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, not great. I like seeing Garrett Wilson get involved. Tyler Conklin, I think, has been a guy that's been surprising to
Yeah.
me. I know we got the him and Uzama right in the offseason, and you're expecting to use them a lot, but
Someone's been hurt.
I
Yeah.
yeah. So I've been surprised with Conklin and his play. I've liked it a lot because I feel like we haven't had a good tight end in 3 or 4 seasons since.
Capable. Not even good. Capable.
Yeah. Um, so yeah, I mean it's good to see these guys get involved and the offense getting a rhythm. I say that with hesitancy. Um, hopefully just with a few more games and things like that, they get more in sync and the offense plays better. I'm still hopeful.
I'm trying to like who's really been like the best Jets tight ends. I know that Cumberland was pretty decent with the Jets a while back. Dustin Keller was okay. It's been bad for quite a while, and yeah, that's
Yeah.
not good at all. All right. Like I said, Jets. C.J. Mosley was all over the field, 11 tackles, and then obviously the picks for uh, who had the interceptions. That was who had the interceptions? Why can't I find that? Oh, there we go. Joyner had the two. That's right. Whitehead and then Michael Carter had the one that I saw. All right. We'll quickly get to the rest of the slate, and then we'll talk about this week's games. My thing is freezing up, of course. All right.
Go to
So,
London game.
yeah, I mean, we go to London. Double doink. Holy God. I I mean, somewhere Eddie Pinheiro is very happy.
Right.
Obviously, that reference to the Bears kicker that double doinked in the playoffs, but I everyone thought that it went in too. Lutz's kick. Everyone thought that went in, and miraculously, it. I
Somehow.
don't. Yeah, craziness. But those guys were trading like 50-plus yard bombs for multiple series, and it was a pretty good game to be a kicker, other than the double doink. But
Yeah.
I feel like the Saints also got screwed. The refs once again just had it out for them. That was a shitty call in the fourth there, and allowing Minnesota to get the ball. I just Yeah, it's a tough one to watch for a team that I do feel like continually gets screwed by the league in the Saints.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think the Vikings are legit contenders
Yeah,
in that NFC North division.
the North, yeah.
Um, you know, Justin Jefferson is an animal.
Yep, 10 for
147
147.
yards, insane.
Rushing touchdown.
Cousins not in prime time in U.S. prime time, right? Is is a different animal than him in prime time.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously he only had the one touchdown and he also had an interception, but it just this team, I think, if you can just keep giving the ball to Jefferson, teams can't defend against him. Like Cook and him are the two big weapons, right? And
Yeah.
teams just can't seem to stop Jefferson. It's crazy,
No.
right? It's with all these big wide receivers where you know who the targets are, and somehow teams still just can't find ways to defend against it. It's crazy. But yeah, I
Which
mean,
which is funny on the other way because I feel like who the weapons are for the Colts. It's
yeah,
Pittman and Taylor, but they do seem to
yeah,
find ways to stop them sometimes.
yeah.
Yeah, it's funny how that works out.
So maybe it's just the schemes then of what the
Maybe
Vikings are doing, or what I look at San Francisco, right,
versus
with Debo, and what he does, and
slants now. Yeah.
him and you go to the Dolphins with Hill, and him being the big weapon there, and what he can still do. But yeah, the Vikings are a scary team, I think, right now. They're rolling. Yeah, with some luck with some penalties that they got, and stuff like that. But on the other side, I mean, the Saints, right? You had no famous Jameis. You had Andy Dalton playing. I actually thought played decently.
Yeah, Dalton wasn't bad.
For coming in there. Obviously it hurts not having Alvin Kamara, in there, but I thought Olave, had a pretty good game. In there, it just they didn't have any weapons. That was the big thing they're big guys, obviously. I just feel like they just weren't there. So
Um, guys talking on Facebook Live, but they'll Saquon stuff, and then trading. You know, uh, Kevin says to trade him Saquon. So those Devils fans, Giants fans know exactly what they want. So that's good. Um, all right, let's get to Falcons getting the win against the Browns. If Falcons doing pretty well at 2-2, showing a little moxie here and there. The Cowboys, Commanders. Cooper Rush is 3-0, and I'll tell you what. If and I'm not saying I would do this, but if when Dak Prescott comes back, if he gets off to a bad streak, Cowboy fans are going to want Cooper Rush back in, and that's not the right move. But he has been pretty good for them. To kind of get off to this season, and he's put them in a very good position where Dak can take a little bit of time off, considering that now 3-1 they lead the division. 3-1 their second division, and he keeps them just where they need to be.
So apparently, Cooper Rush is the only starting quarterback in Cowboys history to start in his first 4 starts 4-0.
Wow.
Roger Staubach, Troy Aikman, all of them, Tony Romo, even Dak Prescott, right? None of them have started 4-0 in their career, I guess you could say, which is insane to me.
Yeah, that's a good little stat you found there. But yeah, Zeke, 19 carries, 49 yards. That's what you got to worry about if you're a Giants fan, is having that kind of contract given to your good running back, and then him just downfall after that. But CeeDee Lamb's a beast, 6 for 97, the touchdown. He's ridiculous. Seahawks, Lions. Lions are involved in 3 of the highest scoring games of the season already.
I got another stat for you for the Lions, right? So the Lions the Lions lead the NFL in scoring offense with an average of 35 points per game, and are last in scoring defense with giving up 35.3 points per game allowed. So the only other team to actually do that was the 2000 Rams. They lost in the wild card, but obviously that was in between them winning the Super Bowl and then also them losing the Super Bowl to the Patriots in 2001.
Yeah,
but that's insane to me. Just that line.
And Jared Goff has been really good. 300, almost 400 yards, the 4 touchdowns. Rashad Penny on the other end for the Seahawks, 151 yards, two rushing touchdowns, and then T.J. Hawkinson. The guy was a beast. He had 8 catches, 180 yards, 2 touchdowns. He had the 2-point conversion. And then we'll talk about it. I mean, Geno Smith, you think this is a little bit of a shot to Russell, like you're going to let Geno cook? You never had any kind of, the same kind of passing acumen. We're going to allow Geno to just go off. I mean, 320 yards, 2 touchdowns. Yeah. That's still, obviously, joking around. I think he's going to come back to earth pretty fast, but good for Geno to start off this well. And Jamal Williams, 108 yards, the 2 touchdowns. He was a beast. So, fantasy-wise, people have to be pretty happy with these. DK had a great game. Tyler Lockett played well. Even Josh Reynolds, who that's one of Goff's old buddies from the Rams, had a good game with the touchdown.
So I got 2 things for you. One, the Geno stat, right, is he cooked, but also the rushing game for them, was fantastic with Penny, right, with 151 yards. Even
they could do whatever
Geno
they wanted.
Had 49 yards too rushing. So I look back kind of at Russ's early career, right, and that was a rushing team, right, with Marshawn Lynch, running the ball and their schemes. So I get it there, right, kind of towards the later half of his stint with Seattle, right. Obviously, you expect him to throw the ball more with just the weapons that he had and everything like that.
Yeah.
So maybe Carroll is more inclined to throw the ball. Maybe just Russ and Carroll's relationship. That kind of just fell through and
that's
whatnot.
crazy.
But my next thing is, so Goff, that trade, right? Golf, to the Lions and Stafford to the Rams.
Yeah.
Obviously, Super Bowls aside, right? Because Stafford just won the Super Bowl. I mean, the Lions are having a
Yeah.
decent quarterback. I mean, stat wise, they're almost similar. I think Goff is actually better the past,
Oh,
20
he's been
games
better
or,
this
or,
season.
or what have you.
Yeah.
No, I think even last year, he was actually
Yeah.
statistically better. So, I mean, it's funny because people look at Goff as like he was part of the issue, right, of why the Rams couldn't make that next step. But
Yeah, I didn't think that. Yeah, I thought it was they. I mean, listen, they got the Super Bowl win, and doesn't matter what they trade now. Those two first round
Mhm.
picks could turn to Hall of Famers. They got exactly what they needed to.
Yeah,
But yeah, I mean, Lions are going to come out of this smelling like roses, and they still have Matthew Stafford to come back and raise his jersey to the rafters. Lions can't. They have nothing but positives from this deal.
yeah,
Yeah, it's going to be good for them. Uh, Titans, Colts. I guess we just never give the Titans their due. 2-2. I know that they're second division right now. Colts are tied for last place. Or actually they're tied for last place. Or sorry, they're half a game because of the tie. Titans, I never seem to give them their due. Like I said, and Derrick Henry, had a great game rushing back again, 114 yards, the touchdown. Uh, Matt Ryan just continually fumbles the ball and looks terrible. And I guess I just maybe I'm continually wrong on Mike Vrabel's team, and maybe it's more Vrabel and the coaching staff and putting together a great team. But Tannehill, had a quiet game, but he had two touchdowns. Mattered most. He
hmm
had the two to one. Robert Woods had one, and then but no ability to throw the ball. Derrick Henry was
yeah,
pretty much the reason why they did it in their defense.
yeah. I mean, I, I I think the Titans are a little overrated. I don't think that they're the team that they were last year, or will be the team that they were last year, right? Pre Derrick Henry injury.
Yeah,
Um, I think this was more of just the Colts offense, just laying a massive goose egg, like they have this whole
yeah,
season so far. You know, I forget what player said it right, but they've had three different quarterbacks come in three different, in the past three seasons. It's tough to get some kind of, you know, relationship,
yeah,
timing, all that stuff with those wide receivers, everything. Getting used to all the play calling, the plays themselves, everything. It takes time to get used to. And I know that Matt Ryan's a veteran quarterback, right? The guys that they brought in, with Carson Wentz last year and what's
yeah.
his name?
Rivers before that.
Rivers before that. I mean, all veteran quarterbacks that coming in, you think that would be able to kind of get this offense going a little bit.
Yeah,
But I think they've past three seasons, this offense has stunk, and a lot of it is because of new player callers coming in and just them taking time to really learn the systems and all that stuff. So it doesn't help that obviously Jonathan Taylor's hurt, and I know that he's not
yep,
going to be playing tomorrow, which is a big killer for them. But you know, it, I think a lot of it is the Colts need a stable quarterback, and then they can kind of start going.
yeah.
So whenever that happens, I think that they'll be on their
They
way.
could be
But
contenders. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I mean they have the
Uh,
weapons.
Matt Ryan has 10 fumbles on the year. That is absolutely atrocious.
Yeah,
Shaq Leonard broke his nose and had a concussion. Taylor, like I said, he's going to be out this week. He's injured. Michael Pittman's out the bigger game. He only had 30 yards on 3 catches last game. Uh, a couple of quick ones. Eagles come from behind to beat the Jaguars 29-21. They allow them to get kind of Jaguars out to the 14 points to start. Jalen Hurts, had the interception, 204 yards passing, but he had the rushing. Miles Sanders with a good game, 2 touchdowns to 134. A.J. Brown, on the other hand, wide receiver, 5 catches, 95 yards. the Jaguars, their defense, or sorry, the Eagles' defense was all over.
Yeah, Lawrence.
Was I think five turnovers, 4 fumbles, the 1 interception. Yeah, Trevor Lawrence did not look very good, and the Eagles are just a beast, 4-0, and looking to continue moving on this week. Bills
Yeah,
Ravens, you know, Bills. I hated. I was watching the game and I was watching the end drive for the Bills, and you see that bullshit roughing the passer call on Josh Allen where he
hmm
looks at the referee and complain and like slaps his hands like a baby, and then the ref throws the flag when it clearly was not roughing the passer. He was in his chest like Allen flops. I just hate that stuff, and it looked
I
bad.
don't I don't disagree with that, but that's also, I mean, I blame more the ref than the player.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously, as a player, coach, whatever, right? You're always going to try to get those calls. I mean, if the ref is going to get goaded into making that call, then
Yeah.
that's on them. That's not on the player. Um, yeah, I was just surprised, right, with the Ravens, right, and going for it on fourth down. Um, not taking the points and then just having your defense, you know, try to stop them, right? Because I think for the most part, that whole entire game that they were, that defense was doing a good job against, the
Mm-hmm.
Bills and stopping Allen. And for Harbaugh to, I think he said in his press conference too that he'd rather risk it, right, and then have his
Yeah.
defense play, instead. I mean, it just doesn't make sense to me, right?
Yeah.
You take the surefire points, and you think your defense is playing well, right? You give them the lead, and if they kick a field goal to tie it, they kick a field goal to tie it, which is
Yeah.
what they
Yeah.
ended up doing anyway. Kicking a field goal to win it. So
And then Lamar, yeah, and then but obviously this game, and then last week's game with with the Ravens, where they gave up, 2 losses where they should have absolutely won.
yep,
Um, but Lamar having a not so great game, and it's not so much the intercept, but like he just sometimes will just throw the ball up there with no regard for anything, and you could see that
yeah,
can wear on a team a little bit. Um, Chargers, beat the Texans. Texans even came back a little bit in the third and fourth, but Chargers are just too good of a team. Eckler, the 3 touchdowns. Herbert played well even through the injury. Damian Pierce for Houston, monster on the ground, and then Mike Williams, 120 yards. So it was a good game for the Chargers.
yeah,
Cardinals Panthers. Kyler gets the win, 2 touchdowns, the one rushing. Uh, Never really in doubt. Panthers just stink. Matt Rule's got to be the first head coach fired.
yeah, right, yeah. I mean, it's he got his guy in Sam Darnold, right, when got him
Yeah,
last year. And now he brings in the other
Baker.
the first overall pick, right, in that same draft, and Baker. And yeah, uh, it's not looking good for him, that's for sure.
No, they just bring in Josh Rosen and see how that goes. Um, Packers, the overtime win against the Patriots. I thought the Patriots had them, and good for
hmm
Bailey Zappi to come in and kind of lead the Patriots. Mac Jones obviously gets hurt from last week, so Hoyer comes in, he gets a concussion. Aaron Rodgers, the 2 touchdowns, and once he got the ball back the second time in overtime, you knew it was done.
Yeah,
Aaron Jones had a good day rushing, Lazard catching, and Packers 3-1 going into London. Raiders finally get the first win, 1-3 over the Broncos. Jacobs and the defense were what kind of led them to the win, 32-23. Russ was okay. Jacobs, like I said, had a great game running on the ground, 28 for 144, the 2 touchdowns. Devontae Adams with another 100 yards receiving. The Broncos just, I don't know. I don't know what it is. They worry the crap out of me. And, as someone that, owns Russ in a couple of fantasy leagues, it's not fun watching him right now. It really does suck.
yeah. I
They're
mean,
rudderless. And Javonte Williams is out too.
yeah, yeah. So that sucks, obviously, with Williams with the injury, right? ACL and MCL, right?
LCL.
LCL.
MCL and LCL, I think it was.
Um, but yeah, so unfortunately he's done for the season.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I mean, this was. I feel like this was like a game obviously where the Raiders, if they go 0-4, their season is
Oh yeah,
100% done. So obviously every game is a must win, in the NFL and the schedule. But if there was ever a must win game for them, against a
yeah,
division rival, it was this. It the Broncos offense, yeah. I mean, there's something up with Russ and Hackett. I don't know if it's Hackett himself, right? Just being a rookie
yeah.
head coach and just overthinking things or whatnot, or if it's the communication between Hackett and Russell. But something's up
Yeah, it's
there,
bad. Yeah, it's bad.
and
Um,
that's definitely something that they gotta fix. They have the
yeah,
weapons.
soon.
Yeah,
Yeah, and if Melvin Gordon could stop fumbling the ball, that would also help.
a little bit.
Last game. Sorry, not last game, but the Sunday night game. Chiefs Buccaneers. Chiefs come out right away, slinging the ball all over the place. Mahomes with another ridiculous play where he has that spinorama and then flips it for a
Yeah,
touchdown to CH. Edwards-Helaire with another good game, another touchdown. Mike Evans had 2 touchdowns. What I just this this Chiefs team, and it's the quarterback. I know that. It's just they're so
yeah,
ridiculous. No matter who's in there, he can do whatever he wants. Three touchdowns, the interception. He makes it look easy. Brady, 385 yards, 3 touchdowns. Looked really good. Rashad White was pretty impactful for them. Uh, yeah, I just you look at this team and how they're built, KC, and obviously Travis Kelsey's one of the main pieces, but he, Mahomes can give it to anybody, and he even said that in the beginning of the year. Not, it's not going to be one guy shining; it's going to be multiple guys, and that's
hmm
exactly what happened. They had guys rushing the ball with Edwards-Helaire, and then passing the ball. You got touchdowns from Jordy Fortson. Like who?
yeah, yeah. I mean, I think it definitely helped. Obviously, that opening drive, right, with on the kickoff, the guy fumbling the ball.
Yep.
Chiefs get it right away, score, go up early. You know, uh, I felt like this whole game, right? It was never in doubt that Chiefs were going to win. They just dominated.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I thought offensively against Tampa Bay the entire time. It's I think from a season ago, right, with Alaire, he was kind of struggling that rushing game was kind of struggling. I think early on in this season, that him and the rushing game in general has gotten off to a strong start as being more of a threat.
Yep.
And I think that helps. Mahomes, Kelsey, his wide receivers get open more. For those big threat, down the field plays. So it's nice seeing Alaire, get open and his running game get going, and even the rookie Pachenko, I thought he had a really good game too.
Yep. Yeah. Pacheco looked
It's
good.
this is a team that I thought wrongfully, obviously, would be potentially the last in this division, and
Yeah, you
easily
were
proving
way
me
off.
easily easily proving me wrong.
Yep. Don't doubt
They
the quarterback.
are a dangerous team.
Yeah.
So I'm eating my words right now.
Yep. All right. Last game Monday night. Stafford, Garoppolo. 49ers just whipped the Rams 24-9. You could see that they couldn't get anything going running the ball. San Fran's Jeff Wilson Jr. had a pretty good day running. Debo with the quick slants, the touchdowns, he was looking great. Basically, getting the ball to Debo's hands in any way,
Yep.
shape, or form. He had that slant touchdown, which was crazy. They're just replaying it actually on ESPN, but he looked amazing, and Ayuk gets involved, and Jimmy was okay. The 1 touchdown, he was a good, decent game manager. But Cooper Kupp, 14 catches, which was tied for career high, 122 yards. Higbee looks pretty good also. So they do have weapons in LA, and Cam Akers had a bad game.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean this Niners team has all the talent to make things happen, and maybe Jimmy's the guy that they need for this. Maybe he's the guy that can get them to once again to another Super Bowl.
Uh, I think it's more just the San Francisco run game that they have, and just the play calling itself.
Hmm.
Jimmy G, I think, is as of right now a better quarterback than Trey Lance is. Excuse me. Obviously,
Maybe in the
Lance is
system.
injured.
Yeah.
Yes. Obviously, Lance is injured right now, and stuff like that, and definitely needs more time to grow. Jimmy obviously knows the system. Has been in it for a while, so with that.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, like you said, get the ball into Debo's hands, let him make plays. Yeah, that's their entire offense, right? Besides
Yeah.
him and just find a running back, let him run. Like that.
It's,
That's the thing.
it sucks that Kittle's still not more of a big part in this offense. I would like to
Yeah,
see him a lot more involved, but it is what it is. All right, the Week 5 games tomorrow. Prime Amazon Prime. You got the Colts Broncos. I I guess I would. I think the Broncos are going to get the win, but if ever the Colts needed a win to stay anywhere close to this division, it would be now. Especially with Broncos missing. Well, I'm actually sorry, both running backs are going to be out this game because
yeah,
Williams and Jonathan Taylor. So, yeah, I'm picking Broncos.
yeah. I would agree too. I think just the Colts obviously missing Jonathan Taylor is more of a detriment to their team than the Broncos missing Javonte Williams. Just
Yep.
with the wide receivers and the quarterback play, right? I think now Russell Wilson's a better quarterback than Matt Ryan. And just I think kind of the offensive woes still plague the Colts for this Thursday game.
Yep. All right, you got the Sunday slate, 9:30, Giants Packers. I do think the Packers are going to get this win in Lambeau. Sorry, in Lambeau, in London. Rodgers obviously having a great season. Barkley, same thing, but Romeo Dobbs is starting to open up for him a little bit, and I think the Packers can get it done.
Yep, I would agree with that.
1 o'clock, Jets Dolphins. I will be at the game. They still have Joe Flacco
Oh,
as the passing leader.
you didn't invite
Uh,
me?
I'm going with Brett. So,
What the
um,
hell is this?
yep. They still have Joe Flacco on here as the leading pass guy because obviously Tua's hurt and so is and Wilson hasn't been on, so it's kind of funny to see him as the leader for passing. But Bryce Hall, Tyreek Hill, I think the Jets. I don't think the Jets are going to win this one, but it would be it's going to be a fun game, especially as being in the stadium.
I'll say the Jets somehow pull off the miracle and
Wow. All
and and
right.
beat the Dolphins. I'll say it.
I mean, Teddy Bridgewater, so they definitely have a better chance. So that
Yeah.
could definitely happen. Uh, this game, who would have thought 2 years ago that this would be a bad game? Not bad game, but just a game where you kind of expect something different. Bills are going to blow away the Steelers. They're supposed to. I think they're 14 point favorites. Buffalo. That's the highest this year so far. Josh Allen's ridiculous. Najee Harris has been terrible, running behind a dog shit line. Stephon Diggs is amazing, even though last week he didn't really have much to do. Give me the Bills all day.
I would agree. I think this might be a closer game than we're thinking just because of the Steelers defense. Um, but I think I do agree with you. I think the Bills won this.
Uh, I'm looking through the slate. Cowboys Rams is interesting. That 425. Eagles Cardinals. I think though that the Eagles are going to blow them away. The Bengals Ravens at nighttime 8:20 is going to be a good one. We'll see if Lamar can get back on track. And then on Monday night you got Chiefs and Raiders. I would say that the Chiefs are going to get that win. Raiders fall to 1-4. Anything else that looks interesting to you?
No, I agree with you. I think the probably one of the best games on the slate right is that Bengals Rams game or Bengals Ravens game.
Bengals Ravens. Yeah.
Um, two teams that are vying for that division. We'll see. Kind of which quarterback has better game. If the Ravens can bounce back from their two terrible losses that they've had, and just the amount of points that they've led by and just giving up. We'll see if the Bengals can kind of keep going, after the slow start that they had. So,
Yeah. All right, some trivia, and we'll get out of here.
yeah. Hold on. Let me find it here.
As I say, there's some really good trivia and some funny stuff that I saw this whole week. Just interesting little tidbits, and it's going to be football season. Even though it's kind of been, I don't know, some games have been meh. There's been some exciting other sides. It's been good. I liked it.
All right. So, Josh Allen had his 22nd career game with at least one passing touchdown and rushing touchdown, the second most by a player in his first 5 seasons in the Super Bowl era. Can you name the quarterback that has the most games of
So
one
it was
rushing touchdown and one passing touchdown in his first 5
one
seasons?
rushing, one passing, first 5 seasons. Lamar.
Yes. Nope. Lamar, you gotta think, came in the league 4 seasons, 3 seasons ago, 4 seasons ago. So he's not on pace yet.
Michael Vick.
Not Michael Vick.
Randall Cunningham.
Not Randall Cunningham. Yeah. Want me to give you a hint?
Sure.
He was a starting quarterback last year, is not on a team this year.
He was a starting quarterback last year?
Yes. He went to a AFC East divisional rival and then went back to his hometown, or the team that drafted him.
How do I not remember this? The starters last year were Tua. Cam Newton.
Cam Newton. Yep. So Cam Newton had 31 from 2011 to 2015.
Gotcha. Makes sense. Not bad.
It's crazy too. He also has a chance to break Peyton Manning's record of touchdown passes in his first 5 seasons.
Josh Allen does?
Yeah. So Allen needs 25 more touchdowns in the next 13 games,
Wow.
which is a lot. Sorry. It's Dan Marino. I apologize. Marino has the record of 171, so he needs 25 more to break that record.
Huh. Interesting. All right. Good job, AJ. All right. We'll be back next week. We're going to probably do it the regular slate Mondays. I know it's usually crazy in the beginning of the season, but we'll be back to the normal, and looking forward to it. Everybody have a great night, and this is Football Primetime.